Hey everybody, welcome to another main line on Wednesday night. Tonight we're going to be talking about who will win the long-awaited battle between Jon Moxley and Kenta. We're going to talk about Jay White's return, and we're going to preview tonight's AEW Dynamite. D-Bake, hit our music. What's up, boy?
Hey, what's going on? Yeah.
What's going on?
What's going on?
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Yeah, absolutely.
So he taped an episode, and a lot has happened in the wrestling world since then. I say we get right on with it.
There's a lot.
Let's talk about New Japan Strong first. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I think it's exciting. Let's do it.
So we had a few matches. We had Clark Connors defeating the DKC, and that was cool. It was neat to see, how the DKC is transitioning into a young lion. It's kind of like a half and half transition. DKC is kind of keeping some of his stuff. We had Chris Dickinson defeat Rocky Romero. Someone gets to beat Rocky Romero up on every show, and this time it was Chris Dickinson. And we had Leo Rush, TJP, and Fred Rosser defeat Hikuleo, ELPL Phantasmo, and Kenta. And the big headline from this is after the Bullet Club tried to beat up Fred Rosser, and during the post-match, we had Jon Moxley come out of nowhere. The lights went out, and they came up, and Jon Moxley was here to challenge Kenta. Finally, we've been talking about this for months. What do you guys think? D-Bake. Hey, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, I can. I can hear you.
What do you think, Tyler?
I think it's, Moxley's been teasing this, so it finally happened. This was the moment, the moment that we've anticipated as fans watching Strong. So we're finally going to get that match, and I'm so ready for it because Jon Moxley just brings the intensity, and so does Kenta. This is the dream match everybody wants right here, and you're getting some Bullet Club storyline, not just in the States but over in Japan. So that's why, for me, this is even more special.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little underwhelmed that it happened on a pre-tape Strong episode because, I mean, obviously Kenta had his long hair here still. It clearly happened in the past. It did not, happen currently.
Right.
This was a pre-tape thing, which kind of, took a little luster away for me. Do you think they're going to pre-tape this episode as well, or do you think they're going to do it live? How is this New Japan USA event going to work?
They may have to still pre-tape it, and I'm with you. Not having the audience there in the studios or arenas does hurt it, but I still think they're going to have to pre-tape it. But regardless, it's going to be a great match because these wrestlers, I give them credit, still bring it, and we're going to get I don't care if it's a 4-star match, probably more than that. It's just they're going to tear the house down. Is what I'm getting at.
D-Bake, are you with us? Can you hear us? I feel like D-Bake has a mute going on here.
I do too. What's happened to our friend, our other encyclopedia of knowledge here?
Hold on here.
Yeah.
Let's turn this off so maybe we can see him. Is he still with us? He's gone. He's gone.
There he comes.
Oh, there he is.
Back.
He's back.
No difficulties, but I am back.
The overlay was there. We didn't know you left.
I know. We kept answering each other like, "Where's Daniel at, man?"
Okay. So, anyways, we were talking about Moxley, D-Bake. Were you underwhelmed? Were you whelmed? Which is it from this Moxley run-in?
Yeah, I was a little underwhelmed just for the fact that I didn't expect them to do it this way. I thought they would have made it a little bit bigger, but I understand why, because I have a feeling that AEW is not going to let him work over in Japan, especially with the pandemic, even though it's actually better there than it is here. So just New Japan Strong gives them a way to work him on New Japan without having to have him go far. Like he can just travel to Los Angeles, record a few episodes, do that, and then boom, he's right back, only a couple of hours away from Florida.
Who do you think wins this match? So we've kind of always said that it's been a foregone conclusion that Kenta's going to win, pick up this belt, bring it home to New Japan where we can see it every week on probably Strong, I would guess. Do you think that's what's going to happen? Or do you think that Jon Moxley might just hold on to it and it'll be a lofty goal for everyone on Strong?
I think it's going to be, like, for this one, I think it's going to be a disqualification. Like, me and you had like a vague talk about this a few days ago. I think they're gonna just get disqualified, and then they're gonna prolong it a little bit longer, and then they'll come back to it.
Yeah,
and then eventually Kenta will
like
win.
the thing to do here.
Yeah, then Kenta will win it in the second matchup.
Yeah, I would go with that because that way it doesn't hurt either guy. I mean, they're still protected in a sense.
Do you guys think this heats up rumors with New Japan and AEW doing deals and stuff like that?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one because I think a lot of companies have worked with New Japan without necessarily having a partnership. So I'd be curious to see what your guys' thoughts on that is.
I mean, I think that the waters seem to be warm for this partnership, even though there was animosity between the breakup, between the elite guys that started AEW.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like the waters are warming. It's just, I don't know if this is the year to do it during a pandemic year when you can't really travel. But then who knows? Maybe you can send one guy here or there. Yeah. Maybe a Tanahashi can come here. Maybe a Jon Moxley can go over there for a little while. It's still logistically not very convenient, which is why I think we might just get teases throughout the year, and this might be a next year type thing. Because you got to think, like, they're going to go over there, probably have to quarantine for at least a week, if not 14 days, and then they can do stuff. And same probably over here. They'd have to come here, quarantine, and then they can do stuff. It's like a month before you can get anything done. So I don't know if there will be a lot of, cross-pollination between New Japan and AEW quite yet. But obviously the waters are warming. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. What do you guys think about Lio Rush versus El Phantasmo?
Before we got that, we got one comment, and Kenta wins because of pandemic reasons.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we were talking about. It makes sense to have that belt on the show there, Juan. Like, Strong needs something to do. They need something besides just who can beat up Rocky Romero tonight. So, yeah, I definitely think that it would be nice if Kenta won and Kenta brought that belt to Strong every week for them to compete. Yeah, Daniel, you were talking a little bit about this Lio Rush El Phantasmo feud. It's kind of spilled over to Twitter.
Yep. I should have printed out all of the Twitter things, but they've been going at it on Twitter, and it's been funny because Lio Rush is using the fact that El Phantasmo is basically a backstage puppet to the God and Jay White, and he's not his own guy, and then he uses them to get fame, whereas Lio Rush, it's just him. It's just Lio Rush, and it was funny seeing them going at it just to promote their matchup, because they put it out on New Japan's website and then on Twitter that each week in February they're going to have a new main event that they're going to advertise, and of course the end of February is going to be Kenta and Moxley, but the week before that is going to be El Phantasmo against Lio Rush. And as you know, when you watch the Best of the Super Juniors tournament that they had, that this all started with El Phantasmo.
Super J Cup USA, I believe you're talking about.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah.
You always get those mixed up, those two. But they had a questionable decision in that matchup, and then that's perfectly fluently going into Strong now, and I think they're going to lead off with Leo Rushkin put over there.
Yeah, it's nice to see them telling those fluid storylines like you're talking about too. Because for a while there, it was just tournament after tournament, and really nothing came of any other tournaments. It's nice to see some storylines returning to Strong.
Yeah, that's an important element.
Any other Strong thoughts, Tyler?
I think Clark Connors these young lions are impressing me, even on these tours. That's what I like seeing. It changes up the dynamic and the monotony for me, because I'll be honest, that's the only thing about some of the big shows that gets a little old, even though they come up and make them different with their movesets. I'm not meaning that, but you see so much of it, and I understand that they've got to give us previews and real cool stuff, but that's why I kind of prefer Strong, because we're seeing people from Impact, we're seeing Ring of Honor. You get that mixture of a lot of the promotions we see over here, but over there, or, where do they tape Strong? Is it over here or over in Japan? That's a good question.
It's over in the LA dojo in Los Angeles.
Okay, that makes sense.
Secret location in Los Angeles.
So it's Hollywood. The secret's out.
Yeah.
But one thing I do like is they were doing the Clark Connors, the DKC match, and they made the mention, which I didn't know about this because, of course, I've only been watching for the past year plus, is that when you become part of the dojo, you got to shave your head. And
then strip everything.
You get stripped of everything. You basically, But it looks like, at least not yet, at least they didn't make the DKC shave yet. And then Kozlov made the mention, they're like, they can't shave his luscious locks or whatever they said. They're like, everything else is what you call it. But they also said, they were like, you basically have to unteach yourself everything that you know and then learn the dojo way. So I'm interested to see how the DKC goes from being the DKC to going to this form of the DKC.
Do you think he'll keep losing till he starts shedding some of those things, and then he'll win, and then he can gain those things back? That'll be that's a very New Japan story to tell. I could see them telling that.
I think it's the right way to go, because you're learning, and then I want to say they ingrain it into your skull, but that's basically what they do. They ingrain the dojo way in, because he asked to be part of the dojo. He wanted to be willingly, and then they accepted his request. So one of the things that you got to do is you got to give up what you already know and then do it their way. And it's a very respectful way. All these guys that are in the company did it that way. Even Jay White did it that way. I saw a picture of him when he was a young lion, and it looked so crazy to what he is now. He was able to shed everything, and then he went through. He did his excursion in Ring of Honor, and then came back. Everybody doesn't know that he's only been around after being a young lion for 3 years. That's it. It's just that he's made a very impactful time since he's been back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just like all the guys there. There's only been a few that aren't the young lions that are making a big impact, a la Sonata. Woo!
Hey, I'm a fan. I'm with you. I mean, the more I watch of that guy, I'm riding his bandwagon. I love Sonata. But the only thing I was going to add about Strong real quickly is I love that we get the scientific matches. I mean, Clark Connors shows you that. So many of the young lions. That's what impresses me. It's kind of a throwback in a new school way when you're watching it. That's what's I take away. Kind of Billy Robinson. Kevin Kelly mentioned that even on the bigger shows, that Gabriel Kidd reminds you a lot of Billy Robinson, that old throwback kind of technique in the ring.
Yeah, we got Juan chiming in. Phantasm is pretty skillful, and it will be a good match with Rush. WWE never cashed in on Great Cruiserweight. And then we got Kenneth Stone, Dirty Hears podcast in the building.
Gonna have to check out the
Yeah,
Dirty Heels
hello.
podcast.
Check them
Thanks,
out, and then
Kenneth.
thanks for tuning in.
I need to check them out for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if WWE never cashed in on the cruiserweights. Definitely not the New Japan ones they had, like Ibushi or Zack Sabre Jr. But
Well,
205 Live
they
was low-key
tried.
one of the best shows in wrestling for a long time, and people weren't watching it.
Yeah.
Enzo kind of derailed it for a little bit there, but there's a lot of good stuff on 205 Live, Juan. You should check it out.
I'm gonna have to go check it out myself because I've heard that, and it's amazing the stuff I miss.
I used to watch it when they had like Cedric, they had Buddy Murphy, they had all those guys, Mustafa Ali. They had all the originals because all those guys came from the Cruiserweight Classic, and then the Classic also had Gargano, Ciampa. They had the Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. Like that's like a who's who tournament right there. And then
can you imagine a Kota Ibushi on 205 Live?
Oh, it would be awesome. I think that's
no
the
way
thing that
you could see a Kota Ibushi or Zack Sabre Jr. Yeah, Lindsay Dorado, Juan says, was another good one.
Yeah, that would be another one. I mean, I would. That would be entertaining for sure.
We got him chiming in. 205 was great for a little. Swan was champ. Lindsay Dorado, and then TJP, who's on New Japan now.
We're gonna talk a little bit about TJP later, Juan. Let's get back on track here. So, since we last talked to the people, New Japan in Japan had a couple of shows. The first was a New Beginning show on Thursday. There's not much to tell here. It was the same stuff. Tiger Mask and Nagata defeated Uemura and Makabe. Doki and Desperado and Suzuki Gun defeated Bullet Club. We had a Koji Tenzan match that went to a DQ. We had Yoshihashi, Ishii, and Okada defeating Togo, Yujiro, and Evil. And then we had LIJ going over, I believe, as well in the main event. Boring show there. Where it really got interesting was the New Beginning in Nagoya. Okay? Did you guys watch the New Beginning in Nagoya on Saturday the 30th?
How can I not?
It was a brilliant show.
Yeah, I watched it just later in the afternoon. Yeah, and of course, I was gonna. Sometimes I wake up for these shows, but that one, I waited until a little later on so I could watch it in full instead of watching it half asleep. But I really dug it.
So let's dive into these results a little bit. First of all, we had Yano and Okada defeating Yujiro and Evil. Yano, I believe, got a low blow during this one to win it, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Kevin Kelly said his monitor went out.
Well, it always does.
Yeah.
We had Wato, Sho, and Homa and Ibushi defeating Bushi, Hiromu, Naito, and Sonata, LIJ. Sho got the win on Ibushi here. And here's where things got interesting. So we had the GradoCon defeating Hiroshi Tenzan. This was a match where whoever lost had to retire those Mongolian chops. And it's kind of a semi-retirement match almost for Tenzan. He's losing his signature move. This was a fun match, guys. You get one good Tenzan match maybe a year if you're lucky. This was definitely one good Tenzan match.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you think, Tyler?
I think it was, when you guys agree, it's a passing of the torch because Tenzan and, to me, Kojima are kind of at the end of their career. With all due respect to those guys, they're very talented, but to me, it seems like GradoCon, Will Ospreay are the guys that are the future, and we saw that. And I'll just tell you, Tenzan, to his credit, how did he do that move off the turnbuckle on the GradoCon? I think so. It was one of those. It was a great spot, though. I was impressed by it. And them saying that having the Mongolian chops was a neat stipulation. You don't see that over here. That's definitely a very New Japan thing. So I dug.
Yeah, I dug it for just what, like you said, they made this special stipulation because both of them do it. It's a way to put over GradoCon because he is the new guy that will be using the Mongolian chop. You don't want to have two guys, or in my opinion, that specialize in the same type of move. And since Tenzan is already looks like on his way out, he kind of puts Khan over in a good way. So
I like the finish too here. So the GradoCon hit Tenzan with his Tenzan's driver finish. And Tenzan was like, "Oh, enough is enough. You can't steal two of my moves." So he pops up, and you think he's gonna have a big comeback, and he immediately eats that claw choke slam move.
Yep.
It made Tenzan look good because he still has fire. It made the GradoCon look good because he's still a monster, and he also gets a little torch pass there. And then in the very next match, we had his tag team partner go over as well. Will Ospreay beat Kojima. And this was it's a young year. This might be my match of the year candidate so far. It's probably going to get taken off the list eventually. But what'd you guys think? Did you enjoy this match as much as I did?
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the aggression in this match. Like just the whole tour that they did with each other. They came out with aggression. They used all the foreign objects. They just came out and they don't like each other. The way that he attacked each other, used the different like I said, moves on the objects, and then it was a great way to highlight Ospreay's heel nature right now for the United Empire moving forward, because you want to build him to something greater, because they all lost at Wrestle Kingdom, the three of them, and then we're still going to wait to see what they do with them after this, but it's a good way to get them on the right track.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was a physical match. It was very intense. I love what these two, their chemistry in the ring. It was another, like you said, Gary, passing of the torch. And there was some crazy spots. I mean, don't tell me this stuff don't hurt, because especially when Ospreay went through the ladder and then the brainbuster by Kojima on the steel chairs. I mean, these guys were going to war, and that's what I'm missing. It kind of like you saw Bruiser Brody in some of those matches in kind of Japanese style, with the Americans and Europeans that went over there. That reminded me a lot of that, and I know I'm going to get criticized for that, but I don't care. I love the match.
That hip toss was a nasty hip toss, too, onto that steel chair that just folded it into nothing.
I'm glad you brought that up. That's another one, yeah.
Yeah, this was a badass match. Why did this feud between these two veterans go over so much better than when I see it done in like WWE? They do it a lot where they have the young guys face the old guys, and it just feels forced. This did not. Was it the steps? Is it the stipulation of Tenzan losing his move?
It was that, and it's just the way that there wasn't too much talking. They just wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had, that's the New Japan way, except for like certain guys that are great on the mic. They do less of the entertainment and then talking promos, and they focus more on the wrestling and the skills. So you get kind of invested in that way rather than the whole thing in itself, which is nice.
Yeah, you don't need promos. You don't need that all the time. I think fans appreciate that, like you were saying, Daniel, about we want to see them wrestle. We want to see a brawl. We want to see a fight. And where there's an issue, you were talking about it. Storylines are so crucial, and that helps when you've got stakes in a match.
Yeah, and high stakes, too. Someone losing their signature move. Yeah, I thought this was definitely match of the year candidate between Kojima and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay really did a great job carrying Kojima through this. Although he didn't really have to carry him that much. Kojima could still go. I don't think Kojima should retire anytime soon. I mean, they did some creative things. They added some bells and whistles as far as like you said, the ladder, and we had the chair spot. But this was a solid match.
I think he's towards the end of his career, though. I give him a year.
He is. A year, maybe two.
But it's a feel good story though
Yeah.
to see him still going, him and TenZ. And I will just add that real quickly.
So we had other stuff go on during this night. Specifically, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeating Shingo Takagi for the Never Open Weight Championship. I don't think we really saw this one coming. I thought this was just going to be another notch in Shingo's Never Championship belt. What'd you guys think? Was this a surprise to you guys? This was one hell of a match.
And it was long too. I could have sworn it went like they said something about how it was one of the longest matches so far. And it went, I think, 30 plus minutes, I feel like. And then they just had a little bit to each thing. Like each guy just kept on getting up after a move. I think Tanahashi did twist and shout at least like 4 times. And then just when I thought Shingo was going to win because he went to finish it, Tanahashi just came back, like you said. It usually once he gets back to Wrestle Kingdom, he looks like he's in shape again, and then he stays in shape for a while before he looks like he loses it for the last half of the year. And he looks like he's in the best the wrestling shape possible right now.
Yeah, and then as you can see in the picture, Tanahashi didn't have long to celebrate before he was attacked by the United Empire, specifically the Great Okan. So it looks like we're going to get a rematch for that Never Openweight Championship. Like you said, it didn't work out for the Great Okan during Wrestle Kingdom. Do you think he's going to win here, Tyler?
You know what? That's interesting. I could see it because, the Great Okan has got a lot of promise. He's been dominant. They built him as that monster. And that surprised me. I was legitimately surprised when he came out because I did not expect that. But that's what I miss about wrestling. And that's needed at times. You don't want to overdo that, but it's a key ingredient, just like a good meal. And I've had plenty of those, I'll tell you that. But yeah. I'll tell you, the Great Okan is – I see him taking it. Tanahashi, I think he's the ace for a reason. I don't know that he necessarily needs it. That's my argument for that.
Yeah, another pin doesn't help Tanahashi. Mm-hmm. It would help the Great Okan.
Right.
Honestly.
My thing, though, is what are they going to do with Jeff Cobb? I'm surprised we haven't seen him because of this whole thing. He had the match at Wrestle Kingdom with Shingo, and then he really hasn't been seen since. And then he was gunning for the Never Openweight title. So do they have something else planned for him where he's going to go elsewhere for another title? Because that's what he was going for. Like I thought they were going to do this where Tanahashi was going to get attacked by Cobb or are they going to have Shingo and Cobb go at it again and then have Cobb go in a different direction because he should be doing something.
I think eventually Shingo's going to be facing Kota Ibushi for that title. Probably what's the Castle Attack? Right? Does that sound
about
right?
Yeah. Could be because my thought process, like I said before, is I think because the Castle Attack's going to end, and then that's going to lean into the New Japan Cup, and then I think ultimately Ospreay wins that.
Is it me? Is it my fandom coming back when I watch these shows? I just got to admit, I'm like a kid watching the Monday Night Wars. I know I'm going overboard probably, but it's true. I'm getting giddy here. I
remember when I first discovered like New Japan's product, and I definitely felt that way. And especially with all this crossover, and I mean, as you can tell with the way we run our show, we go from New Japan into AEW into Impact. And they're all blending together. It's like one storyline now. Yeah, it's a magical time for real to be a wrestling fan, Tyler.
Yeah, for sure.
So, that could have been enough to quell our thirst and do this show.
Yep.
Period. But we got more. The next night, I believe. Oh, was it the next night? It was 2 nights later, Monday.
2 nights, yeah.
It was the Road to New Beginning again. We had, Tsuji defeating Kid. They're trading wins. Bushi, Hiromu, and Naito and Sanada defeated Wato, Sho, Homa, and Ibushi. And here's where, again, it got interesting. Ishii, Yano, and Okada defeated Dick Togo, Yujiro, and Evil. And after the match, Ishii got attacked by Jay White. Jay White is back. So again, I ask you guys, are you underwhelmed by this payoff to this Jay White, maybe leaving New Japan story? Or are you whelmed by it? Did it hit the spot? Are you just happy to see him? Give me your thoughts, Tyler.
I'm happy to see him. I think they could have drawn it out a little bit more, but I think they needed him. That's why you saw him. And I'm all for it. I think that's what's missing, storyline and his psychology. He's a great heel. He could hold a belt, but he don't need it. I'm all for Jay White coming back. I mean, that's all in a nutshell, really.
Yeah, and this is a tough call because we don't know how long he's back for. We don't know if this is just for the tour or if he's back long term. He signed a deal and no one knows about it yet. But it's a good way to get use out of him right now. He comes back, attacks the guy that pinned him last at the New Year's Dash and Ishii, and it's a new body for him to go up against because we haven't seen that. And it brings like a new wrinkle into the character. Like he's come back with a vengeance, and you heard him say he was like now I have a new lease on being God, and I just got to get through Ishii now to get on the right track of that.
Yeah, I believe Ishii was the last person to beat Jay White before he went on his hiatus. So he's literally starting at the beginning. He's going to start at Ishii and go from there.
Yeah.
I was a little underwhelmed with this. I thought you could have waited till you had some fans in the building. You could have brought him out in maybe a face scenario. But they just kind of brought out same old Jay White, which, like you guys said, I'm very happy to see. The same old Jay White is one hell of a wrestler, and I'm very glad that he's in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But I thought, with how well they built this, is Jay White going to leave? Is he going to go to WWE? Is he going to go to AEW? They could have done some things.
I'm interested to see what they do when they finish building up Will Ospreay as a heel, because you're going to have Will Ospreay and then Jay White, who are both heels, and then I want to see how they coexist as that. Like, will they ever face each other, or are they going to try and keep them apart as much as possible? Because at some point, there's going to have to be that clash of who's the top guy, because you know how heels are. They don't like another heel taking their territory. So
yeah, that would be very interesting. But hey, think of the possibilities with a match though between those two. I'm with you.
So also that night we had an elimination match, which was kind of fun. We had Jado, ELP, Ishimori, Tongaloa, and Tama Tonga defeat Doki, Kanemaru, Desperado, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taichi. The funniest part of this match is the ELP tried to convince Red Shoes he wasn't out by getting his feet back up on the apron like they do in WWE. Red Shoes wasn't having that shit.
That was good.
It was good. And then Kevin Kelly was like, I think his feet are still on the thing. It was like, they counted him out as eliminated. Okay. And then moved on.
Yeah, that's out. I don't know what you're talking about.
I love how if El Phantasmo's on commentary too, how him and Kevin Kelly play off each other. I think Daniel brought that up. It's magic, man. The more they do it, the better. I'm enjoying that.
Yeah, I really didn't like ELP going into this run, but he's kind of won me over for sure, especially on commentary, like you said, Tyler. So we had another show on Tuesday. Same deal. Did you have something?
No, well, I have two.
We had Ishimori. And ELP defeating Mura and Taguchi. The thing about this match is Uemura sold ELP's super kick great. like he got shot with a bullet.
Oh, he did. I mean,
We also had Ibushi, Honma, Sho, Wato defeating Bushi, Hiromu, Naito, and Sonata. We had Jay White, Yujiro, Tangaloa, Tamatanga, and Evil defeating Yoshihashi, Yano, Goto, Ishii, and Okada. I just want to say it's great to see Yoshihashi get his ass kicked in this last match. They hit him with every finisher.
That's not your
in
favorite?
The book. It was great. It was so fun. They hit him with every finisher. It looked like Jay White was going to pin him, and he pulled him up just to hit him with more finishers. And like you see there, God, they still got the iron fingers that Taichi got from Izuka.
Yeah. The best with the fingers the past 2 days has been Tamatanga walking out and then being like, "Where are they at? Where are they at?" Mocking him like, "I don't see any. What are you talking about?"
That's been fun.
Yeah.
Hey, and I know we're going ahead, but I can't wait to talk about what he did. Was it the next night or something? That was funny.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the biggest thing that happened that night is Jay White came back with a vengeance, and Yoshihashi felt it.
That's that one of your guys, Gary? I'm surprised.
I've never mentioned Yoshihashi in the show.
I'm teasing with you, buddy. Yeah.
So I think you're talking about today is the next night, right? Wednesday the 3rd.
That would
Taguchi
be right.
And Kid defeating Uemura and Tsuji. We had Yano, Ishii, and Okada defeating Yujiro, White, and Evil. Mori, Tangaloa, Tamatanga Jr., and Taichi. Naito and Hiromu defeated Sho and Honma. Sonata and Bushi defeated Wato and Ibushi. And I think what you were referring to, Tyler, is in the third match, Taichi thought he got his iron fingers back. He grabbed the satchel, but what was in that satchel, Tyler?
Just good old toilet paper. How about that? I mean, you don't see that, and I immediately just got a kick out of that. I mean, how clever. That is a Bullet Club move if I ever saw one. I mean, if you've watched or followed these guys.
It was classic cartoon humor. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, everybody needs a laugh, even with wrestling. Why not?
So you guys know what happened with those iron fingers, right? Like there was this guy named Iska. He was kind of more like a monster than he was a man. They led him around on a leash. And he would break off the leash during every entrance, and he would run through the crowd, and the crowd would scatter. And he retired, and he left his dreaded iron fingers in the middle of the ring. And, Taichi just kind of crept up when no one was looking and pocketed it. And that's where those come from. And now God has them, and it doesn't look like Taichi's going to get them back anytime soon.
No, I don't think so.
Not till the next big show.
But I liked how Taichi was aggressive because they've been feuding. What is it? The Dangerous Tekker, Zack Sabre Jr. and the God. So, and I'm really behind this feud. I think it's great. Now, can you guys educate me? Is the Dangerous Tekkers really baby faces or heels though? That's where I'm still learning.
Normally they're heels, but I'd say right here they're definitely the baby faces. I mean,
yeah, that's what I got.
They're trying to get their stolen item back. I mean, that's a baby face thing, right?
Yeah, I would think so. They're blurring the lines.
What do you guys think? What's your overall impression on Taichi as a whole? Like, I think Taichi's a top guy. Do you guys think Taichi's a top guy?
Not yet. I think he needs to do a little bit more.
Yeah, he does. I mean, I think he's getting there, but I don't know that I would call him a top guy, even somebody who's new to the New Japan Pro Wrestling.
So, yeah, I think the best thing that happened that night was the toilet paper stuff. What else do we got to talk about with New Japan? So we had some funny promos. First of all, Ibushi, Hiromu, and Sho are doing these weird promos where Hiromu wants to tell Show something very personal, but Ibushi keeps interrupting him like a parent or something, breaking up a teenager's first kiss. D-Bake, are you annoyed that Ibushi is spending more time with these promos with Show and Hiromu than he is building his match with your boy Sonata?
Yeah, I am. Like I expected them to put a lot more focus on the title match, but it seems like they're not. And he's just playing, like you said, playing parent to another matchup. So they're putting more into Hiromu and Show's rivalry than that one.
Yeah, you like to see them take it more seriously. I mean, it is for the 2 championships. I'm with you on that statement. That's the only thing. When is enough comedy and too much at times? I mean, I know we just talked about we needed a laugh, but this is about the Intercontinental and World Heavyweight Championship we're talking about here.
We got a little bit of Naito imitating Homa. That's pretty hilarious.
Oh, I love that. Yes, that was great. I'm glad you brought that up. Oh, he did it so well too. And hey, how about Homa? I mean, he's been impressive. Talk about a guy that can go and endure a lot. I know people were probably like giving me that look, but hey, listen, just from my observation.
Do you guys have any other New Japan thoughts before we move on to AEW?
No, that's it.
Yeah, that's all for me. Yeah.
So yeah, AEW. We left, before the actual show went on last week. So last week, Kingston defeated Archer with the help of the Butcher, Blade, and Bunny. We had Jericho and MJ. Jericho stuck that lion salt. Did you guys see that? We were talking about it last week where we were like, is he missing a step? Can he hit that lion salt? And he proved to everyone he can hit that lion salt. He looked at the camera and was like, look at me, internet marks. I just nailed that lion salt.
I think he took enough criticism already. He was definitely proving a point there.
Yeah, for sure. We had Cody respond to Shaq. Daniel, what do you think of the Shaq feud?
I think that it's gonna boil over into like a tag match on Revolution. It was nice to see him bring in Red Velvet, and then had her get like a serious side to her, get very pissed, and then she was like, "I'm coming for you," basically. And it was a nice thing to see them bring Arn into it, like when I need to know something, Arn keeps me in check. He tells me what I need to hear, and then that's exactly what he did.
Mm-hmm. Here's where I'm going to have to respectfully disagree. This segment fell flat to me. I mean, Shaq, I think I understand he's busy, but I think they kind of messed up with the whole Brandy Shaq confrontation. I'll just be honest with you. That's where, because at some point that should have been Cody and Shaq. So that's where I think they made the mistake. I do like Red Velvet as the choice. I'm with you. And Jade Cargill, I'm still waiting because we hear all this promos and build up, but I'm anxious to see what she can really do. I mean, she's a great athlete. She looks great. She cuts these promos that are hilarious, but let's see if she backs it up. That's going to be what I'm anticipating. I'm just throwing that out there to kind of change it up a little bit.
We had Hangman defeating Ryan Nesmith. That is Dolph Ziggler's brother, I believe. That was kind of cool seeing him. We had Jungle Boy defeating Dax Hardwood. I thought this was an underrated match. Dax Hardwood made Jungle Boy look like $1 million here. He did it old school while letting Jungle Boy kind of work new school, which was a good contrast. There was a beatdown at the end. Marco Stunt and Top Flight came in to save the day, but not before Luchasaurus had his horns broken off. What did you guys think of this match? Tyler, I'd have to imagine you loved Dax Hardwood in this one, being an old school wrestling fan.
Yeah, I love anything FTR. And let me just tell you, I agree with you, Gary. he made Jungle Boy look like $1 million, like a lot of the great pros do. And Jungle Boy, to me, I'm just going to say this real quickly. This is not going to be popular statement, excuse me there, but I don't think he needs Jurassic Express. I think it's time to push him more as a singles competitor, be more seriously focused on him. That's just my opinion, but I'm going to stick with it.
Is it me, or did they recently just change their entrance music too?
I think they did, yeah.
They used
I
to
believe they bought the rights to a song that they used to use on the indies. So now they're using their original song, technically.
Okay, but I like that. I like this music. I don't know what it is about it, but I like it just because it's like the quintessential music from movies, and then they put it right into here. And then I like how they're using Jungle Boy now. Like he can talk now, and he cuts promos compared to not talking at all, or responding to Luchasaurus. And then now they're taking him more seriously. They're building him better. Yeah, like I agree. They can. He doesn't have to have Luchasaurus or Marcus Stunt. I just think that for right now he fits better. Then did you guys see the AEW news today that they suspended the two for a week?
I did. I saw that. Yeah, they suspended.
Yeah, FTR for a week for their actions against Luchasaurus.
Yeah, they broke his horns. I mean, come on, man. A man's horns are, that's sacred. That you guys would be crying if your horn got broken off.
Yeah, we would, but I loved it as a heel move. That was awesome. And how about Tully still at his age doing moves? That's what the Four Horsemen kind of me marking out about that. I'm like, yes.
And then I don't want to go too far back, but like we mentioned the Hangman Page match with Dolph Ziggler's brother, but at the end of the match, you could see Matt Hardy just lurking at the outside, like clapping, and then they bring him in, of course, with Tony Schiavone, and he said that like he should get all the notice because he's a top guy, and he shouldn't be changing in the hallways, and then he always has room in Matt Hardy's locker room to get changed, and he said he's not looking for anything in return. He's just looking out for him because he knows of the situation that he's in right now. I wanted to see where you guys think that this is going to end up.
I like Money Matt recruiting. It's kind of cool that he's trying to recruit a group of people, and he's trying to like appeal to their greed, if you will. He's not necessarily trying to appeal to their good nature like the Dark Order was doing.
Yeah, they tried. No, and here's the thing. I think Adam Hangman Page would fit Matt Hardy better than the Dark Order, with all due respect to those guys. I know they're trying. But Hangman Page, to me, could be a great heel. I mean, with all due respect to Omega, I think it could fit Hangman more. But he doesn't necessarily need to be in the Bullet Club. I think he'll do well being with Private Party and Matt Hardy. So I'm actually for this.
Matt Money Promotions.
Do you think he's going to be the Sting of AEW? Everyone's trying to recruit him, and he's just going to be brushing everybody off.
I hope not. With all due respect to the Sting angle back then, it worked. But I hope let's not rehash too much of that. I think just keep building it like you are. I mean, tease Matt Hardy. Yeah,
I like this, but I will say I do like before this. I like the lone cowboy look that they've done, where he's like I should stick to my guns and stick by myself because everything that happens with me doesn't end well for anybody associated with me. So
it's the classic action star line.
True. It's an anti-hero. Is it me, or should they put the strap the rocket on him, so to say, and push him? I mean, to me, that's an opportunity right there with Hangman.
That's eventually their plan, don't you? I mean, it seems like
I would hope
the
so.
plan is for him to be a top guy eventually.
He deserves it.
And then to veer off from that, after that match, I believe it was after that match, they cut it into backstage where they had MJF come up to your boy Sammy Guevara and to go talk to him, and Sammy Guevara's like, I see right through you. I know what you're doing, and don't try and play me. He was like, because I'm not playing. And then MJF goes, you don't want to get on my bad side. How do you think this is going to end up?
I think we're going to get swerved here somehow. Like, it just seems too convenient that this is going to come down, between a match between Sammy and MJF. I think MJF is going to swerve Jericho or swerve somebody, and they're going to end up, creating an offshoot of the Inner Circle.
Yeah, that could happen. But here's another scenario. I think MJF's better not being in the Inner Circle for me. I think he's at a crossroads right now. He's lost some of that edge. I mean, he's still a great heel, but to me, I understand Jericho's the big star, and the Inner Circle is a great group, and I think the possibilities of Guevara and him feuding or the swerve can work, but that's how I feel. It's hit and miss for me certain weeks.
I actually think the biggest star is Sammy Guevara. I think he is the big star here. Like I like MJF, like you got him in coming on the promo, but I don't think he's the best in ring because he doesn't do that much. He doesn't wrestle that much. Whereas I see Sammy Guevara, he can talk. He has that swag just wrestling with the Chris Jericho, and he sells everything. He is the guy that will sell for anybody. He's taking all these moves, all that they ask him to do, and he does it. Doesn't blink. He does everything well, and now like they're putting him into a thing with MJF where he's like, I don't believe you. They kind of turn him into a face essentially. Like the Inner Circle is kind of like a heel group, but they're turning him into a face, and I think they're going to try and pull him away from the group and start him as his own character. Like I thought they were going to when Dynamite started before he like instantly put him right into the Inner Circle on the first episode. And I think they're going to strap him into that. And then I think he'll be perfect in his first year by himself going after the TNT title.
I hear you, but Sammy Guevara and Jungle Boy are both going to have to go to the Young Lions school of bulking up. Like I don't know. Because they need to call Clark Connors and ask him what he's drinking every morning because they need some muscle, both of them.
Well, tell Darby Allin the same thing, but
that's true. That's true. If you're going to compare, well, and hey. If we're being honest, goodness gracious, I need some of Clark Connors, what he's drinking, because I need some muscle. My gosh.
Yoji-Q.
Yeah, that's a great commercial, by the way.
It's the Yoji-Q.
Yeah. But I agree, yeah. Great.
So we also had Britt Baker defeating Shanna, and we had the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers defeating the Dark Order. This match was apparently highly edited because of antics by the Good Bros, specifically pretending that they're hanging their dicks out during the match and pretending that they're smoking pot during the match. Some of that made it into the match, so you can only imagine how bad the whole match was if they had to highly edit this match.
And then did they make fun of it on Be the Elite too?
Oh, yeah, I'll give you a breakdown of Being the Elite after this. After the match, they were going to beat down on the Dark Order, and Rey Fenix came out, which was clearly not enough firepower. And then Jon Moxley, busy man, we were talking about him in the beginning of the show. He was on New Japan Strong. He comes out here to make the save too on AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, it was
Moxley pulling double duty this week. Tyler, what'd you think?
Oh, I thought it's great. Hey, anytime you get Moxley involved anywhere, you're going to get the viewers interested, investigated in what they're doing as a brand, talking about AEW or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Here's another theory. What if you put Adam Hangman Page in that spot instead of the Dark Order with the Young Bucks? To me, I'm just thinking outside the box. That would be interesting because he was feuding with Omega when that broke up. They just had to halt it. So there's still a lot of meat on that bone.
It wasn't the Bullet Club.
That's exactly. So that's where I was coming from that observation. What do you guys think? I mean, is that too much outside the box, or could you fit that later on?
I think they're definitely going to swerve him into the storyline, but they're waiting till we forget that he is, involved in it at all. Like you were saying, we know he's a Bullet Club member. We know he was feuding with Kenny. We know he was part of the Elite when they moved over. We're going to kind of start to forget that after this Dark Order thing, after this Matt Hardy thing.
They want
just when we forget it, they're going to do that.
They want to build his character before they do that. They want to branch him, like you said, branch him away, build his character, and then revisit it when he's his new character, and where you're not like, oh, it's that guy that was part of the Bullet Club and part of the Elite. They want you to be like, oh, it's Hangman Page. I remember he was with them, and he has unfinished business with Kenny Omega. They want to do something like that. And
we used to argue about this on Name Redacted all the time back in the day. And, there are people on that channel who thought that they should have just given the belt to Hangman right away. They should have messed with Jericho. And that's clearly not the right way to go. They clearly went the better way to go about it.
Yeah, that would have been a
Hangman's
mistake.
a much bigger star. He's going to be an even bigger star after all this stuff is said and done.
And Jericho's your star. I mean, you got to, and you can't, Cody didn't even take the belt at first. It was Jericho.
You got to put prestige on it. Yeah.
Yeah, you put prestige by having the biggest star at the time on in Jericho, even though he has since lost a step. He still has it, but I think he's kind of lost a step a little bit. And then he put the butts in seats at that time before the whole pandemic. And then now you got all these young talent that you want to groom. They have put time in, so then you can go do that. Cody did win the TNT one, but he didn't go for the World right away. And then it took a while just to put the belt on to Kenny Omega. But I think they kind of did it right by making it a heel Kenny Omega.
They did that right too with the slow play with Kenny.
Yeah, and then they had him come out at right after they did the whole Too Sweet thing. They actually kind of did like two separate ideas into that, where they kind of had the Young Bucks go, we get to choose anybody, and then they look at the Good Brothers and they're like, we mean anybody. So it makes you feel like tonight that they could win tonight and then choose the Good Brothers. They could do that, and then I feel like at was it No Surrender, I think the Private Party would take the Impact titles.
Is it me, or does the Young Bucks do better when they're baby faces? I don't know that I'm buying them as heels, though. That's the problem. I think they kept switching them. They've kept going back and forth.
Real heels, and they get to be little pricks. Like they were really good at it. It's just hard to be the face.
It's
hard to be the owner and the face of the company and be a heel.
That's that stigma.
It's kind of the situation in New Japan with Suzuki Gun and the Bullet Club, where you kind of have two heroes. One of them kind of has to be the babyface for the program. So
a lot of interesting things. I'm looking forward to it, but you're right. They need to build. And sometimes I'm guilty of wanting them to, I guess, hot shot. It's the term you would use.
Yeah. And then I liked how after Phoenix came out, he kind of knocked Young Bucks down, and then they were gone. And then Moxley came in and they took him out. And then you thought, at the end, Kenny Omega comes in and you're like, oh, he's going to get Moxley. And then Moxley turned it around and did his finisher to him. And then you just had it ended as Omega laying down on the ground.
And Omega sold that forever. I mean, wasn't he like his legs up in the air for a long time?
Yeah.
That was a great sell of, what is it, the Death Rider? Or was that a...
Which
one was that?
Yeah.
Well, it's... In AEW, it's the paradigm shift where it does it.
That's it.
In New Japan, instead of doing like the regular DDT in New Japan, he kind of picks the guy up and does it, and then he calls that the Death Rider.
But so either way, Kenny sold it like The Rock selling a stunner.
Yeah, The Rock did sell the stunner great. Yeah, I mean, that's going back to Kurt Hennig type overselling there. I mean, we just remember Hennig, he would go over the top rope, and just even for Hogan, it would be over the top, but it would work because of who it is.
So like you said, Daniel, on Being the Elite, the Good Bros and the Young Bucks made fun of their highly edited match. They also pretended to molest a deer They also looked into the camera and specifically said, "We are not working with New Japan Pro Wrestling." So I don't know if that's just to, get in our craw a little bit, get our little Mark hearts beating a little faster. But they looked right into the camera and told us they weren't doing it. The Dark Order had their sleepover, and their Hangman went to go to the sleepover, and Anna Jay didn't allow him to do it because he broke the Dark Order's hearts. He didn't want them to break their hearts again. Sammy Guevara became the new Being the Elite champion in a field goal kicking contest. It was pretty fun. We also had Luchasaurus and Brandon Cutler calling a truce because Brandon Cutler says dragons are in what's that game he plays? Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
So
Yeah.
dragons are technically Luchasauruses, so they're friends again. Matt Hardy convinced Private Party to mess with the Good Bros, specifically waking up Festus. And apparently when you wake him up, he's Festus. So you don't want to wake him up out of a deep, deep sleep. It was a pretty funny episode of Being the Elite.
Are you sure they're not high on something sometimes? I mean, that is a funny thing, because I wonder.
Well, they're definitely pretending that they're smoking pot, so they might have actually been smoking pot too. I don't know.
No, I think it's fascinating.
Smoking pot, Tyler, than taking opioids to heal all those aching joints.
Well, that's true. No, and I wasn't making fun of it, but it just seems so funny. You would think they're on a high somehow. I mean, it's just that's where I was going with that.
They definitely. The opening scene definitely seems like they're doing something, whether they're doing a little drinking, they're doing a little something there, Tyler.
Hey, man, they're having fun. Leave it to me to use that theory. So,
do you want to play anything before we talk about Impact Wrestling, Daniel?
Yes, I do. I'm going to play the video for the social media promo where we put all of our content for the Buzz. So check it out.
In the hills with the stars, told you I'd raise the bar, told you that I go far. Oh, baby, it's crystal clear. Oh, I'm not a souvenir. Oh, I'm not an accessory. I'm a necessity, so come and check me out now. I'm a necessity, so come and check me out now.
We are the Buzz. You can find all of our content for the group on all 3 social medias. Actually, 4 with Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and IG under the @ at WTB.com, and that's WTBDOTCOM. So subscribe to all of our pages and leave us a comment and let us know what you think.
So I want to talk a little bit about Impact before we go. Not a ton happened during this show, but it was still a pretty fun show. Havoc defeated Tasha Steelz. We had Josh Alexander defeating Madman Fulton. Do you guys think they're pushing Josh Alexander after the tag team broke up, the North broke up?
It would be the smart move since Alex from Armchair Wrestling recently interviewed him, so he's got the Buzz strap on right there.
Oh yeah, I mean if he's on the Buzz, I say put the rocket on him.
Yeah, push him forever. That's worth it alone.
And he's a hell of a wrestler. I think they should push him.
Yeah, and he's a great technician, and I think he's deserving of it. He's put the work in. He's been in some big matches. Why not?
Yeah, it was a little surprising he got the win here over the monster Madman Fulton, but he deserves it. He should get more wins. After that, we had a scrum between Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers. We had Hernandez and Matt Cardona also get involved in this scrum a little bit. What do you think about this feud here? And what do you think about adding the pieces of Hernandez and Matt Cardona? You think the Major Bros would have been on the same page, but it doesn't look like they are on the same page here.
No, I don't. I think it's interesting. I think because you've got that would be obvious. I think for the fans because we know they're friends. So why not? I mean, Myers is the heel, Cardona is more the babyface. So that fits, and it gives Eddie Edwards somebody new and fresh that can take on Myers because he uses those shortcuts. And so I think it fits.
Yeah, and LAX here, or Proud and Powerful, they're not here anymore either. So it gives Hernandez something to do. It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his as well. Going back to when it was TNA, remember he was there too, back when it was TNA Impact.
We had Larry D defeating Crazy Steve. We also had Jordan Grace defeating Susan. This was an interesting match because Susan had her crew, Perazzo and Lee, in tow. There was a little bit of beatdown between, of Jordan Grace after the match. And who made the save but ODB? I'm a big ODB fan, guys. What do you guys think about ODB? I'm happy to see her back in the Impact Zone.
Yeah, I'll let Daniel take this one. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of her, to be honest. I think the character is kind of stale now, and I think they should be doing something else with her, or she should just stay retired. Now, that's just my opinion.
I didn't have a problem with it because, to be honest, I haven't. This to me was a surprise, whether good or bad. So I don't have much to add to it. But I tell you, Daniel coming in with the heat, I like it. My goodness.
Yeah, I didn't expect you to be an ODB hater.
I don't know. To me, there's nothing special with her. Like, it's just to me a drunken woman from a trailer park gimmick, and then it just keeps on happening. Like, it was okay back in TNA, but then they just keep on going back to it, and it's just the same thing. You got to try and reinvent yourself, and I don't think that they have with her.
There's something attractive about that. Maybe I'm being weird. I'm trying to be like Heenan, man, trying to be funny. No.
That's hey, everyone's got their type, Tyler.
Well, thank you for making me feel bad. Now you guys can make fun of me.
We had Rohit Raju defeating TJP, and this is ahead of their match for that X Division Championship. We had, I might not be pronouncing this right, Mahabali given the choke slam to TJP, which allowed Raju to score the victory. Then he laid the title on TJP's carcass to send a message before their match. This has kind of been a fun little program for this title. Yeah. Rohit Raju really is putting a lot of investment into the X Division, which I love. It's a sign of a good X Division guy. I definitely think that he could use some new people to face, though. I think we talked about this before.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign for the X Division because it's been kind of stale for the past year where they've had like a bunch of heavyweights going to it just to plug in the X Division, and they need to revamp that whole division. And this is a good start. You can probably put him on there because TJP runs in different promotions, most notably New Japan, and you want to bring in talent there to refill it and to bring the prestige back with it, because that's what when you think of Impact, you think of the X Division. That's what stood itself from the other promotions is their X Division, and then the matchups they had there with them notable names of like Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles, even Austin Aries, Chris Sabin,
Samoa Joe,
Joe, all those guys. That's what built that company, was that division.
I feel like it kind of kept them alive for a while. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely, it did. It kept it unique, and I like Raju. I think he's great. He does the great shortcuts that we don't see enough of. That I will say that he really has that ring intelligence of the officials' backs turn, or he's got this big giant coming up to chokeslam TJP. I think it's a fun rivalry, but I'm with you. They've got to find new opponents and freshen it up every now and then.
Yeah, I'm with you. I like Rohit Raju a lot. I believe he was called Hakeem Zayn on the Indies. He can cut a hell of a promo.
Yeah.
We had in the main event Moose, Chris Bay defeating Rich Swann and Tommy Dreamer. ahead of Swan and Dreamer's match at No Surrender. The miscommunication, classic miscommunication here between Swan and Dreamer that cost them the match. Led, I believe, Tommy Dreamer into a spear by Moose. I have to double check my results here, but this was a nice little match. What do you guys think of Tommy Dreamer getting another shot at a world championship?
I think go ahead, Dave.
No, you go.
I think it's good because Tommy Dreamer, I think it's a great opportunity. I know Tommy, is more of a brawler, but I think with you got Swan in there, it'll work. And it's kind of brings that nostalgia factor. I know people don't like that because we saw Goldberg and WWE, a lot of those things. But I think this match will actually surprise a lot of people because Tommy Dreamer has been more active than a lot of those legends coming back. I mean, he's been at the forefront for Impact as far as I know.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good thing to see him not be used as like a goof gimmick, and like they're actually using him more seriously, and he's putting good work in. And then, like, who knows how much longer that he has? So they give him a good rub here, and then he might not win, but he'll put in a good match.
Do you think he's just a place filler for? Maybe he comes pretty close and Kenny Omega runs in to beat up Rich Swann, or he comes pretty close and Moose comes in to beat up Rich Swann, and Tommy Dreamer kind of gets a little bit screwed as well as sets up Rich Swann for his next opponent?
It's possible.
Yeah, I think more so it'd be something where it gets close and then Moose comes in, and then you get like a Swan versus Moose for the title. Because he does have the TNA title that he's been walking around with, saying that he's the real champion.
I'm with you. I think the Moose Swan match is more interesting to me just because I think we'll still get the Omega Swan match down the road. So
yeah, I guess let's talk about what's next for everybody, and let's start with Impact since we're here. So like I said, No Surrender on February 13th. We got Tommy Dreamer versus Rich Swann. Like I said, I predict that there'll be some form of schmaz during the end of this match. I can't imagine Rich Swann just going over clean on Tommy Dreamer and it being worth, anything. What do you guys think?
I think there's going to have to be some interference, whether that's Moose, Omega, maybe even involve the Good Brothers to help Omega, something like that, some scenario. Because, Tommy Dreamer, that's not his forte because he not only does the hardcore matches, but that's what he built his reputation on. So it could still work like that to have an interesting finish. That's just my thoughts, about that match.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think it's going to be Kenny Omega. I think that'd be too soon with him dealing with Moxley over on AEW. I think it's Moose. So, like we said earlier, TJP is going to face Rohit Raju for that X Division Championship at No Surrender, and the Good Bros are going to face Private Party for those tag team Impact tag titles. Predictions: Good Bros or Private Party? I'm just going to go out and say Private Party. I think the Young Bucks come out and distract them, and then the Private Party get the victory, and then maybe they choose they're like, we choose you at Revolution.
Yeah, that would be fun. And another scenario I see the Young Bucks, coming out to also help the Good Brothers too. There's so many different ways you can do it. That's why it's fun to have these theories. Who knows? But I'm with you. A lot to unpack, but it's a fun time to be a wrestling fan.
So for AEW tonight, it's probably going on right now. We have another Archer versus Kingston match. It's a lumberjack match. We have the Sabian Ford wedding. That should be interesting. It's been a while since we've seen a wrestling wedding.
They're not going to get married.
We got that tag team.
Something's going to go wrong.
We got that tag team battle royal that you were talking about, Daniel, that's going to determine the number one contender at Revolution. We got Omega and the Good Bros versus Mox, Pac, and Ray Phoenix. That should be a banger. We also got Matt Hardy and Hangman Page, because like you were saying, Daniel, they had a little skit on the last episode, and they're going to go against Chaos Project. That should be fun. Revolution is going to be on the 27th. As far as New Japan,
It's actually it's on March 6th.
Oh, do I got it wrong? It's not on the 27th?
Okay, they pushed it back then. Yeah.
They pushed it back. No, actually, it's March 7th.
Yeah. Was it originally the 27th? Is that where I had it?
It originally was, and I think they just pushed it back because there was been talks that with the NBA All-Star game, they don't know what's going on with that. So I think AEW pushed it back a week, and then to the 7th. So that's what it is now on a Sunday.
Well, now I know, and knowing's half the battle.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly.
As far as New Japan Pro Wrestling, first of all, we have the Road to New Beginning USA on Friday. So another strong episode that should be interesting. We have the Road to New Beginning on Monday, and eventually we'll get to the Road to New Beginning in Hiroshima, and that's where we have some interesting matches. We have on the 10th GOD versus the Techers for the tag titles. Who do you guys got in that, GOD or the Techers?
That one's tough, but I got GOD.
I've got GOD too. I agree with Daniel wholeheartedly. I just think the Bullet Club, you don't take them off of them. Even though I like Zack Sabre Jr. and Tachi, you just don't do it. I mean,
I'd be surprised if the Techers don't win here and get the payoff of getting Tai Chi's Iron Fingers back. I think that the Techers are going to win. I expect GOD to take a little break, especially since Tama Tonga has been talking about maybe trying to get himself a little time off on Twitch. So yeah, I'm going to go the opposite direction of you guys. I'm going to say the Techers. We also have Hiromu versus Show on that night. Who do you guys got, Hiromu or Show?
I got Hiromu because he's going to be pushed a lot this year, and he made the comment that he wants to main event Wrestle Kingdom with the Junior Heavyweight Championship. So I think just to have him win just at Wrestle Kingdom a couple of weeks ago, just to have him lose in his first defense would be wrong. And I think
again, technically, right? Because then you lose in the first defense to Ishimori.
You guys would know. I don't know that I started watching them. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. But I'm actually going to be different. I know this is out from left field, but I'm going with Show just to make it fun.
I mean, he could do it. He's, I think, a future top guy. Show.
And then you can't miss the match of the night at that night, which is Master Wato against Bushi.
Oh, that's
gonna be a highlight. Yeah.
So who drops who on their head? Does Bushi drop Wato on his head, or does Wato drop Bushi on his head?
This whole tour, I've actually become a fan of Bushi. I've actually become a fan of his. I like how he comes out with a different mask all the time and a different look, and then he always has the hands. And he goes like this, and then he's been doing good work.
Can you do that again, Daniel?
Yeah, you can't see me. Yeah, there's Cena. Yeah,
he's been doing
That's
good
gonna
work.
be your thing now. Like,
yeah,
Daniel.
I love
Bakley.
it. I love it. Yeah,
he's been doing good work the past month, and I think he could win, but this is one where either guy could pick it up. They might go with Master Wato just because they're building him, and then he'll be getting TenZ back as his manager by after this. So like I want Bushi to win, but they might go with Wato.
Yeah, I'm with Daniel. I'm liking Bushi more that I'm getting to watch him. He's an enigma to me. I'm still trying to figure the guy out, but he's fun in the ring. So I think you got to do it. And no offense to Master Wato, he's actually had a strong year. That's one of Gary's favorites. I mean, that's his guy, Master Wato.
If he had his choice, he'd have a Yoshihashi Master Wato tag team.
That's my Wrestle Kingdom main event right there.
If you're bucking, that's your main event. Yeah. Not Jay White, not Sonata. It's those two.
So we also have Thursday the 11th, the very next day. We have the big match of Ibushi versus Sonata. I think Sonata has no chance, especially with the very lackluster build here. Do you guys think Sonata has any chance? Let's start with the Sonata mark here, Daniel.
He has no chance. I think it's. I wish they would have waited a little bit because he deserves better than this. With how he's been top notch in the ring, and then just his work has been top notch. But they're gonna go with the Bushi. They've been plugging he wants to unify both titles, and then while they have him say that and go all out with that, and then do these little things with Hiromu and what's his name Show,
yeah.
just to not do anything by losing.
I think it'll be Ibushi, but it's a shame. I agree with that statement because I really like what Sonata does. He's so fluent in the ring, and I like his presentation. To me, Ibushi's good. Don't get me wrong. He's the gold standard for a reason, or they call him the gold star. I get why they put the titles on him, but I think if I'm going to have a champion to build a promotion around, it's Sonata. There's something about it.
He's got the it factor. It's a fact.
See, he is on it tonight, man. He's doing we've got to step up our game, man. I'm just up here. He's going to be on memes, man. He's popular. This is good stuff.
The only thing I'm missing is a 25 count.
Yeah. Remember, Kojima did not want Ospreay. I did like that. Going back to that, would not let it decide that.
We also had a match added to this event. We had Jay White and God versus Chaos, the never open title weight holders. So Goto, Ishii, and my boy Yoshihashi. There's no chance here that Bullet Club wins these titles. Jay White can't hold a never open weight tag title. Jay White's way above this, isn't he? Like, do you guys think that Bullet Club has any chance of taking these never titles away from Chaos?
It depends on how the tag title match goes.
Sure.
I think.
Unfortunately, I think Yoshihashi is going to get his revenge for the beatdown he got.
No, I think he's going to get his revenge on you. That's what he's going to do.
He's probably going to look for Gary, somewhere in
One of these days, he's going to be standing outside my window with his stick. He's banging on my window with his stick.
We're gonna go live, and I'm going to be like, "Where's that sticker at?"
Yeah, I think Bullet Club could win it, though. I mean, I know it's still far enough away, but hey, they've surprised us before. So
it'd be interesting because I thought, like, man, Okada can't win that never title. It would just look stupid, and he really didn't. So I kind of think it's the same thing with Jay White. It would look so off.
Speaking of Okada, when are they going to book this match between him and Evil?
That's a great point. That's what I was going to. Great minds are thinking alike here, and that's scary.
Do you guys like the little dance he's doing in the ring?
It's okay. It's a little forced, but I like Okada. Yeah. But Evil, to me, I've told you guys this in chats before. They still can unleash him and make him more of a monster. I'm still a little disappointed. I think they're holding him back a little bit.
Do you think that they're holding him back for the next tour to do that at Castle Attack?
It could be
there.
Yeah. So yeah, like you were saying, Castle Attack is from the 14th to the 25th. We have the Mox versus Kenta, New Japan USA, February 26th, and then we're into the New Japan Cup into March.
Is Luchasaurus going to be at that Castle Attack? Because he's perfect for that. Oh, he's a dinosaur, not a dragon. Excuse me.
Yeah. Castle Attack, is that going to be the Empire's tour to run wild?
They're gonna bring back the Ultimo Dragon. That's what they're gonna do.
Hey, I would mark out, man. That's going to some WCW days for me, man. Ultimo Dragon.
Yeah. Castle Attack sounds like it's going to be awesome, but it's probably going to be lame.
Is it going to be the White Castle of Fear? Because I love the Sting Vader matches, but are we getting something similar to that?
It's probably going to be low key, just because the next thing's going to be the New Japan Cup, so they want to do something kind of low key, and then just go right into the New Japan Cup, which is going to be very good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to all these tours, and I love how they're doing it. I told Daniel before we went on, Gary, that, man, it's a lot to keep up with, but it's fun, though. because you do get previews. The only thing I feel bad, it does tend to get monotonous, and that's the thing. But they do pretty good changing that up. That I think that's why the young lines are so vital right now.
Now, the perfect thing that they could do now is they have Chaos win next week, and then at Castle Attack, you have it be Chaos against the United Empire for the Never Openweight tag titles, and then you have the United Empire winners.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think they're deserving of that. It's a great faction, and I'm right. I'm missing Jeff Cobb with that, but I do love GradoCon.
Yeah.
Will Ospreay with Bea Priestley. She adds so much.
Going back to what you were saying about monotony, Tyler, I kind of compare New Japan more to baseball. Like, every game isn't necessarily a big game that you need to have your 100% focus on. There's a lot of games out there where you could be having it on while you're doing chores during the day and just kind of, peek in every once in a while. Because, like we were saying, a lot of these Road to shows, they're the same show. It's just these teams trading wins. So besides, like, little, funny things they do or little things they do to keep themselves entertained and keep us entertained.
I mean, Yano's there for that to me. I mean, he's doing the comedy spots. I get it now. I mean, but he is funny because he handed, what was it, years the pad while the ref was seeing him. And I'm laughing now. See,
it's just like his entrance is like to commentate, and then they announce him. It's like 2 minutes because they do the boat trophies, and they do a satchel, then they do his robe, and then
he's
they
got
do
to
the
plug
book.
his ramen noodles that he
and then you just
promotes,
see Okada. You see Okada in the background just holding it because he wants to laugh so hard.
He wants to laugh like everybody. Even Kevin Kelly was making a reference. He's like, man, we could have got through the show already with this entrance. Yeah.
One time, Yano, I believe it was a pre-Wrestle Kingdom press conference, made the entire room crack up. And you could tell that they were all trying not to crack up as hard as they can, but Okada was failing the most.
I think
it's a pretty easy thing to look up. You guys should check it out.
I need to. And another thing with the Homna deal, that impersonation, Naito, his play with Hiromu cracks me up. The trophy and then the spray to the back of his head as they're walking back. Just little nuances to me are great. That's what I like about New Japan too, with what you guys are saying. Yeah.
And speaking of Naito, I like the whole thing that they had. It must have been last week where he went to walk out, and then he kept on walking to the left. He would walk to the right. Yeah. He just hang out by the rafter, and then he comes up. He always goes up to Kevin Kelly, and he's like, and then Kevin Kelly greets him. He's like, and then you saw the whole thing with El Phantasmo. They kind of had that interaction for a second, which was nice. And then he makes the comment, and like everything that Naito's been doing he's been a little comical lately, but then he keeps it to like a minimum, which is nice.
But
Did
what's
you guys
cool,
notice Hiromu's trophy got broke again?
Yeah, that's what I was alluding to. Yeah, that's where the spray came in. That's what was so funny. What you guys were talking about, Naito being comical at times.
So the reason it's a one-winged trophy is because the first time Hiromu won it, it was a two-winged trophy, but he broke one of the wings off. So, of course, he finds a way to break the trophy with just one wing on it as well.
Does everybody not love Kevin Kelly when Evil or any of the Bullet Club says, tries to do the too sweet with him? He's like, well, I can't do that. It would not be as cool. I think that's so good what Kevin Kelly's doing there.
I'm sure Kevin Kelly is watching right now, right? So we should all send a big thank you out to Kevin Kelly for sitting by himself in Japan, which probably can't be easy to do these shows for us.
Yeah, well,
these shows would be rough if we had to watch them without Kevin Kelly's commentary.
Well, at least for most of them, he's not sitting alone because it looks like El Phantasmo guy's pay grade. He bumped it up by being on a commentary more. And then I like how he's been doing it. And then at one point in time, they had him doing it. And then on the other side of them, they had Hiromu doing it with the Japanese commentary. It's always been him or Yoshihashi doing it on the Japanese side.
Yeah, and then they're throwing stuff at each other. They're hucking
the water bottles. Yeah.
And Kevin Kelly goes, "Hey, stop doing that." He was like, "I like that pen."
And it's so cool when Phantasmo, says about these guys, take your shirt off, but yet he's wearing his for a while and then finally takes his off. So it's hilarious.
It's like kind of, a tradition in New Japan. When there's a match that's kind of a throwaway match, they keep their shirts on. And I assume
that makes sense.
I assume it's because they want to sell merch. They're plugging their merch. But it is also a sign that they're not taking that match seriously. So it's kind of disrespectful for you to wear your shirt. So that's probably what he was talking about when he was yelling at who was it, to take their shirts off. I remember that comment. That was pretty
it
funny.
was several. It's
I think
kind
it
of hard.
Bushi.
Was it? Okay. Yeah, just some funny stuff with the serious stuff too that you have to have a nice balance of. It's pretty cool.
You guys got any wrestling thoughts before we call it a show?
I think we covered all of it.
Yeah. Just I'm looking forward to tuning into AEW today to see what happens. If I had my hope, I get Eric Bischoff coming in with being the pastor again, just like in SmackDown.
That was awesome. He had to stay in that makeup for all day. He was fooling people. I mean, even a lot of people that didn't know, they were like they didn't believe it. Till it got revealed that it was Bischoff. That would be cool. I think that would be a neat concept.
And I think something's going to happen with Orange Cassidy there, barring how much longer Trent Beretta is going to be out.
So we were talking a little bit in our private chat about the Royal Rumble. Were you guys disappointed we didn't see any of these free agents appear in the Royal Rumble? Your Taya Valkyries, your Tessa Blanchards. Who else did we mention?
I forget now. That was two of the big ones for sure.
Yeah. I think that they just kept it legit. Like if they want to bring somebody on, that they might do it later on. Like my opinion, I think Taya could go to NXT, and then you have her come in at Takeover on the 13th. You have her come in on the 13th. You do that, and then give her work, because the way that they brought back quite a few females back to the card, that she might get lost in the shuffle right away. So they could bring her to down there, and she'll be used a lot right away.
Yeah, I think instantly. I mean, you could, like you said, plug her in somewhere. And I got to tell you, I am so glad out of some of these NXT stars that Damian Priest, I think he will fit perfectly. He'll be one of the few that hopefully that won't get messed up.
Oh yeah, look, I'm a big fan of his. Ever since he started training down here, up here my way at the Monster Factory. I only lived like 20, 30 minutes away from there, where him and Matt Riddle trained there for a while before they got to NXT. So it's good to see him getting moved up.
Yeah, I think he's spent his time. He's paid his dues in NXT, and it's time to let him shine. I thought it was neat, the Kane interaction. I did not expect Kane. I mean, I know we see legends, and it may have been kind of a letdown, but I still mark out for Kane, because I remember that whole storyline with Undertaker, then Paul Bearer, of course. You know.
How cliche was it? How cliche was it that it came out as the 18th pick for his 18th Rumble appearance?
See, I did not catch that, and I'm telling you guys always bring up some great facts, but that is neat. Did not realize that.
Yeah, I was a little disappointed with no debuts, but other than that was a solid show.
It was one of their better ones, and I know it's hard for everybody with the pandemic, to be fair, but that was easily one of their better shows, and I think it has a lot to do with Edge and Orton and a lot of the moving parts there.
You want to play anything before we take off, Daniel?
Yep, I'm going to play this promo video for the schedule of our live shows here at the Buzz. We got them every day except for Saturday, but here's our schedule.
War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Tell them that's what we ready for. War. Bringing that to competitors. Till we see the confetti fall, be ready for war. Tell them I'm ready, any opponent. The crown heavy and every minute is chosen. A path only fit for kings, and you don't know what discord means. What did you enlist for? If it isn't getting more rings, then you gon' have to switch your team. Trust me, it gets more mean. I'm a nightmare going up against your dreams. First step is explosive like a bomb hit. Bet if I let it fly, I cannot miss. And you ain't got a chance at the top 10 when you getting clamped all night by your locksmith. On the block, throwing lobs to my top bigs. I'm a chef, no look, with the top dish. Tie game, through the pressure as the clock ticks. Crossover, step back, hit a shot, swish. Tell them that's what we ready for. Tell them that's what we ready for. Bringing that to competitors. Do we see the confetti fall? Be ready for war. This is how champions are made, but it never happens in a day. It's all hard work, but it's why what happens when we play 9 out of 10 times. I'ma lap you.
And as the schedule of the week for us at the Buzz, you got a show each day. Check them out. Let us know what you think. Comment during our shows, and then let us know how you feel. You guys got anything to say before we get ready to go?
I enjoyed it. I just think we covered some great shows, and I'm having a blast joining you guys. I mean, it's been a real thrill for me. It's all I'm going to say about the closing moments of this show.
Yeah, another good show. 9.95, guys. See everyone next week.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
This would be a 9.99 if you're a fan of Master Wado, but that's near nor there.
We've got to get to a 10. Come on. Master Wado, don't do it. Oh,
maybe if he adds another color.
Yeah. We'll add blue hair to him like Master Yado.
Hey, it would work. Yeah.
Yeah. But I am D-Big. This is Gary and Tyler. And then we'll see you guys next Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern time.
Take
See you
it easy,
guys.
everybody.
Yeah, bye.